Let's talk about a feeling that I bet is going to sound super familiar. It's that sense that you're just operating on a different wavelength than everyone else. This is all about that journey from feeling misunderstood to finally realizing, hey, your mind just works differently. You know that feeling, right? You're in a conversation and you just feel drained. All the small talk feels so pointless, and you're just sitting there longing for something deeper. It can be a really isolating feeling, and it makes you wonder, wait, is it me?
Well, here's the thing. That feeling, it's not a flaw. In fact, psychology tells us it's not arrogance or you being difficult. It's actually a clue that your mind operates on a different level. So think of these feelings as signposts, guiding you to understand your own intelligence.
All right, so first up, let's dive into your inner world, what we're calling your deep mind. This is really the foundation of it all, how your brain is processing everything happening around you.
Okay, so our first sign, this one is a big one, and it gets mistaken for a negative trait all the time.
I'm guessing you've been told at some point that you overthink things. But what if that's not about being anxious at all? What if it's just your brain's default setting, to connect every single dot, to search for the full picture before it can finally rest? You're not just thinking, you're building this incredibly complex map of the world in your head.
And believe it or not, there's a real psychological term for this, hyperconnectivity. It basically validates this whole experience. Your brain is just in this constant state of making connections that other people might totally miss. It's not a bug in your system, it's a feature of a highly active, intelligent mind, the very thing that drives creativity.
All right, on to our next clue, and this one builds right on top of that idea of seeing connections.
And this is a huge part of what we call high emotional intelligence. You're not just hearing the words someone says, you're sensing the tiny shifts in their tone, that little hesitation, the choice of one word over another. You're picking up on all the unspoken currents flowing through every single conversation.
So here's the real difference, right? While most people are just focused on what is being said, your brain is already jumping ahead, analyzing the why. This kind of perception can sometimes make you seem a little distant or even intimidating, but it's just your natural way of processing what's going on.
Okay, so we've talked about how your mind works on this really deep level. Now let's get into how that actually shows up in your social life and why some interactions can just feel off. This next one, man, it gets mistaken for being antisocial all the time. But it's really just about managing your energy. And look, this is not about disliking people, not at all. It's just that your inner world, with its constant flood of ideas, is already like a bustling party. So sometimes socializing can feel like an interruption to that rich internal conversation, and you need that solitude to tune back into your own thoughts.
And that right there is the fundamental difference. For a lot of people, social interaction is the charger. For you, solitude is. Being alone lets your hyper-connected brain process and explore without being interrupted. It's not about being empty, it's about having the freedom to think.
And this craving for depth? Well, it leads us straight into our fourth sign, which is a really common source of social frustration. You're dying to talk about the big stuff, the universe, why people do what they do, the future, but you find that most conversations just get stuck on the surface. That mismatch can leave you feeling super misunderstood, and honestly, it can be so boring. So this need for depth, it's not just about your social life. It actually goes way deeper and shapes your core values. Let's look at the principles that guide you and often, set you apart from the crowd. Okay, number 5. This one might explain why you're not always the most popular person in the room, especially in places with a lot of rules. See, a really active mind just can't accept things at face value. When you hear someone say that's just the way it is, your brain immediately fires back, but why? And couldn't it be better? This isn't about being a rebel for the sake of it. It's this built-in drive to understand, optimize, and improve things. And our sixth and final clue, this one might just be the most defining one of all. When it comes down to it, you would rather be honest than just be liked. You value the truth, even when it's uncomfortable or makes you unpopular. And that commitment to authenticity, that's the real hallmark of a mind that puts substance way ahead of social approval. So here we are. After going through all these signs, we landed this final and honestly really empowering realization. If you saw yourself in any of this, it's time to kind of reframe your whole experience. This right here is the key takeaway.
All those times you felt misunderstood, or maybe too intense, or just out of place, it wasn't because something was wrong with you. It was because you were processing the world with a depth that is, frankly, pretty uncommon.
So don't hide that way of thinking. It's your greatest strength. It's a valuable, rare quality in a world that often just rewards what's on the surface. You've got to protect it.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Now that you know your deep thinking mind is a feature, not a flaw, how are you going to honor it? How are you going to build a life that doesn't just tolerate this part of you, but actually celebrates it?